Hello, one and all. So here's our discussion for provisions, contingent liabilities, and contingent assets. So ma'am, ano ba yung provisions? Ano ba yung tungkol saan ba ito? Kasi there are certain circumstances or happenings sa company na because of uncontrollable factors, hindi mo naman makokontrol lahat, hindi mo naman kontrolado ang mundo. Bigla na lang kinasuhan ka, bigla na lang nagkaroon ka ng breach of contract kasi manufacturing ka, tapos bigla nag-oil spill, hindi mo naman ginusto yun kasi you're even if you are a manufacturing firm, mahal mong environment mo. So, yung mga ganong circumstances, it creates a probable outflow ng economic resource mo. Ngayon, if there hindi mo kasi alam kung when, okay, and how much, okay, kasi hindi pa tapos yung mismong proseso. Okay, for example, sa lawsuit, okay, hindi pa tapos yung hearing, wala pang decision, pero accounting standard tells us that provisions should be recognized, okay, under those circumstances. And if it does not qualify for the definition and criteria of provision, a disclosure for contingent liabilities or sometimes contingent asset. Okay, so yeah, so let's start. So ano ba yung provision? According to PAS 37, that is the governing accounting standard here, it is a liability of uncertain timing or amount. So kakaiba siya sa ibang account, sa ibang liabilities, because yung ibang liabilities, certain na certain yung amount, certain yung occurrence, certain. This one, sa provision, you are uncertain. Okay? Even if there is uncertainty in timing and amount, at least you can actually, there is probability, high probability that it will happen, and the amount can be reliably measured. Okay, due to certain factors. For example, expert opinion, mga ganon. Okay, so examples include warranty obligations. I have already discussed in the previous videos about warranty obligations. Okay, nangangatamad ako. Bawal daw kamutin. Okay, commercial. We have estimated liabilities on pending lawsuit. So, pending law, kinasuhan ka. Yeah, provisions for environmental damages. Ito yung sinasabi ko regarding manufacturing firms na nakamata sa kanila ang DENR. May kasunduan na if ever there will be damages in the environment due to daily operations, mananagot yung manufacturing firm. Provisions on decommissioning cost of an item of PPE. Obligations caused by entities' policy to make refunds to customers. Obligations arising from guarantees. Provisions on onerous contracts, and provision for restructuring costs. Those are the example. Okay, so how do we recognize a provision? These are the criteria, and sabi, it should all be met. All, hindi lang isa. All should be met. Una, there is a present obligation, either legal or constructive. Okay? Legal or constructive, resulting from a past event. Ibig sabihin, nangyari na yung event, nagkaroon ng obligating event, okay? Even if it's legal or constructive, so alam na naman natin pinagkaiba ng legal or constructive, okay? It's a present obligation. Okay, it is probable that an outflow of resources embodying economic benefits will be required to settle the obligation. Probable. Okay, not possible. Probable. Okay, so mamaya describe natin ano yung probable. So, the amount of the obligation can be reliably estimated. So, this one, kung mapapansin nyo, nababother ako sa electric fan ko. Ipod ko nga. Yan. Okay. The amount of the obligation can be reliably estimated. Yun yung pinakahuli. Mga familiar? Yes, familiar. This is actually the same with the criteria of a liability. Kaya kahit yung provision is actually uncertain in timing and amount, basta na-meet niya itong tatlo, all, okay, it has to be recognized. Ano? Okay? Yan. Ma'am, ano ba yung probable? According to interpretations, ang probable is more likely than not. Ibig sabihin, mas malaki yung chance ang mangyayari siya kaysa sa hindi. Ano? 51% or more. Ma'am, ba't hindi 50-50? Pag 50-50, ibig sabihin, nandun ka sa gitna, hindi ka sure kung mangyayari or hindi. Kaya 51% or more. More likely than not. Okay? Higher chance that the event will cause an outflow of future economic benefits than not. So, yun yung probable. Okay. Now, we go to contingent liabilities. So on contingent liabilities, there is a possible obligation whose existence will be confirmed only by occurrence or non-occurrence of one or more uncertain future events not wholly within the control of the entity. Tingnan nyo, possible, possible only, possible obligation. Okay? So, yun na yung mga clue, ha? The present obligation, it is a present obligation, but it is not probable that it will cause an outflow in its settlement. The amount cannot be reliably measured, so therefore, this will only be disclosed. Nasa disclosure parts lang siya na sinasabi mo na there's a pending lawsuit but it cannot be reliably measured yung amount, and then hindi ka naman sure kung mananalo ka o hindi. So, disclosure lang. Basta sinabi mo na, na nakasuhan ka, at least alam ng mga auditors mo or even the accountants or even the investors, like creditors, na nakasuhan ka. So, yun. Okay? Contingent assets. Anong contingent assets? Are not recognized because they do not meet all recognition criteria. Ganun din yung contingent liability, ha? Hindi siya recognized, disclosure lang. Okay? Disclose only when inflow is probable. Include possible inflows of economic benefits from unplanned or unexpected events, such as claims that an entity is seeking through legal processes where the outcome is uncertain. So, nagka-lawsuit ka, feeling mo mananalo ka. Feeling mo lang. Feeling mo lang. So, pag ganon, either meron kang damages, payment for damages na matatanggap, or there are certain obligations that the other party will execute sa'yo, possible. Okay? Virtually certain realization of income is not a contingent asset and must therefore be recognized. Okay? So, pag virtually certain, okay, na magkakaroon ka ng income, hindi na siya contingent asset. Siya is asset. Okay? So, yan. Yan. Ito yung highlights or summary of yung mga palatandaan lang. Okay, when to recognize as a provision, when is it a contingent asset? Okay, so una, we see the table, the columns. We have level of uncertainty, can it be reliably measured? Then accounting treatment, so is it accrued, disclosed, or ignored? And then remarks. Okay, so first let's look at the contingencies loss. Okay, so pag probable daw, and it can be reliably measured, you have to recognize it or you have to accrue. Okay, it is treated as a provision. Okay, when it is probable, but it cannot be reliably measured, so hindi na niya na satisfy lahat ng criteria, you need only to disclosure lang. Okay, if it's possible, so sala na agad sa criteria. And even if yes, it can be reliably measured, or no, it cannot be reliably measured, disclose, pag possible. Okay? Then last one, remote. Ibig sabihin, hindi talaga siya mangyayari. Kahit balik-balik ta rin ko mundo, mas malaki yung chance ang hindi siya mangyayari. So, remote chance, even if it can be reliably measured, and if hindi, you have to ignore it. Ignore. Okay? So, those are contingent liabilities. When lang siya dinidisclose? If it's probable and possible. Pero, probable pero not reliably measured. And then possible whether it can be reliably measured or not. Okay? So, yan. Those are for the loss contingencies. How about the gain contingencies? So, we look at the level of uncertainty. You have virtually certain. Ito yung sinasabi ko kanina, virtually certain, and it can be reliably measured. You have to accrue it. Actually, hindi siya accrue eh. Dapat siya ay recognize. And, oo nga, recognize as an asset, treated as an asset, okay? So, yon. Then, we have virtually certain, pero it cannot be reliably measured, okay? You only disclose it as a contingent asset, okay? When it is probable, whether or not it can be reliably measured, you also disclose it na lang. Okay, contingent assets. And then if it is possible and it is remote that there will be an inflow of economic benefits, whether reliably measured or not, ignore it. Okay, so yeah. Okay, so this is the summary. Okay, next. Measurement. Provisions are measured at the best estimate of the amount needed to settle them at the end of the reporting period. So, ito kasi yung, ito yung, nandito na yung talagang dutan ng ng calculator. Okay, so, ma'am, paano ba natin mini-measure ang provision? So, it is the best estimate. Best estimate. Okay, best estimate possible. So, there will be problems na parang single factor lang, general rule. Okay, best estimate. So, hahanapin mo sa narrative or if you're dealing with a certain problem regarding, if you're an accountant already, regarding a provision, okay, you have to find the best estimate. Pwede kang lumapit sa mga experts, sa iyong management accountant, or because you're the accountant, okay, you formulate or you gather information regarding the best estimate possible and you parang ipa-approve mo siya sa BOD, okay, sa management mo. If yes, it's actually the best estimate for this. You can consult experts for that. Okay, so yon. So there will be times, okay, that ang involved is actually a series of amounts, okay, or expenses. Then, pag large population yung involved, ang ginagamit na best estimate is actually, ang ginagamit for estimation or for measurement is the expected value method. So, mamaya pag-usapan na yung expected value method. So, if there is a continuous range of possible outcomes, so ito naman may range, kunwari from 5, siguro matatanggap ko from, ang kailangan ko palang ilabas for the lawsuit is from 5 million to 20 million estimate. So, pag ganun, may range, midpoint yung hinahanap. Okay, yung midpoint yung ginagamit as measurement. So, mamaya pag-usapan natin. So, yan. How do you record the provision? You debit an expense. So, pwedeng environmental allocation expense. And then, credit estimated environmental obligation. Ganun. Okay, so debit an expense and then you credit an estimated liability account. Okay, so yan. Next. Yan. Best estimate. Ma'am, paano ba nakikita yung best estimate? Usually, the problem states that the experts have deemed that the amount is the best estimate. So, pinakamadali na yun. Okay? Or that the amount of is probable to be incurred for damages. So, actually, may mga problems na sinasabi. According to the accountant, according to the engineer hired, the best estimate for this, blah, 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 ganyan, ganyan. So, yun. Alam mo na siyang best estimate because the narrative gives you clues. Okay? So, yun. Pero, in real life, okay, when you're in the job already, okay, you need the help of experts, okay, and you need to use, ano ba? You need to use tools in order to come up or to arrive at the best estimate possible. Okay, so yeah, expected value methods. This involves probabilities. Okay, so for example, involves enumeration of costs. Okay, for example, a cost of 5,000 repairs has a probability of 10,000 of occurrence. Okay, so estimation siguro. Okay, and then while a 2,000 repair expense has a probability of 20% occurrence. So, ma'am, paano yung expected value? Paano nakukuha? So, kung makukuha mo siya by yung 5,000, okay, na repairs, multiply mo sa probability niyang 10% occurrence, and then yung 2,000, multiply mo sa 20%, and then the values you got from the two, add mo lang. That's the expected value. Okay, so gano'n lang. Okay, midpoint. So, sa midpoint, di ba may range nga, no? So, paano nakukuha yung range? So, for example, it is probable that the firm will pay not less than 10 million, not less than 10 million, so ibig sabihin 10 million, but not more than 100 million. So, 10 million to 100 million yung range mo. How do you compute for midpoint? You add 10 million plus 100 million divided by 2. So, yun yung midpoint mo. Diga. Okay? Malinaw ba yun? Risk and uncertainties. Estimates can be increased by risk adjustment factors. So, there will be instances that a risk adjustment factor is given sa problem. Okay? So, kasi nga, there is uncertainty, kailangan mag-provide ka ng allowance na baka mali nga itong estimate natin, baka naman mali yung assumption natin. So, there is allowance for imprecision. However, you have to be cautious with this. Kasi baka sinasadya mo ng lakhan yung risk adjustment factor to overstate your liabilities. So, pag ito nakita ng auditor, okay, medyo mabibigyan ka ng adverse or qualified opinion or adverse opinion, okay, masamang image siya for the accounting or even of the company itself. Kasi bakit yung iyong liabilities ino-overstate mo? Okay? Ang pangit yan tingnan sa creditors na kunwari gusto mong umutang, tapos makita nila ang dami mong liabilities, oh my God. Pautangin pa ba kita? Hindi ka nagbabayad ng utang. So, ganon. Okay? Next, you will encounter present value also. Why? Because there are instances that the time value of money is very material. Okay? So, kailan yon? Usually, ito yung restoration and decommissioning cost ng PPE, where cash outflows occur only after a relative long period of time from the date of the initial recognition. Okay, so bibigyan ng pre-tax discount rate, then you'll get the present value. Okay, so we'll see how we compute that sa guided exercises. Okay, then some notes of future events. So future events are considered in estimating a provision only if there is objective evidence that supports their anticipation. Ibig sabihin, there is actually a possibility na mangyayari siya. Okay. There's a high probability na mangyayari siya. Okay, so for example, a new law that will increase the amount of the penalty will be enacted. It is only considered if it is virtually certain na may papasa yung batas na yon. Ibig sabihin, pirma na lang ng presidente or even the Senate hearing, nasa third reading na siya. So, most probably, magiging batas na siya. Tapos, pipirmahan na lang ng presidente. Alam mo naman, ang presidente is approve or sang-ayon, gusto niya yung batas na yon. So, malamang sa malamang, ma-approve, magiging batas na siya. Virtually certain, mag-i-increase yung penalty. So, ganon. Okay? Next. Expected disposal of assets and reimbursement assets. So, dun muna tayo sa expected disposal. You can only recognize gain kapag pinagbebenta mo yung asset, kapag napagbenta mo na. Hindi ka pwede mag-recognize ng gain kapag hindi mo pa nabebenta, balak mo pa lang. Kailangan nabenta mo na siya, doon mo pa lang ma-recognize yung gain. Okay? So, yung sa isa reimbursement asset, if another party is expected to reimburse the settlement amount of a provision, ibig sabihin, merong kang guarantor, merong kang co-maker, charot, merong kang third party na sasagot doon sa settlement amount ng provision. Okay, then a reimbursement asset should be recognized only it is virtually certain that such will be received. Anong best example? Insurance. Okay, so yan. Maliban sa mga companies, if you will be putting up your own business, better if your assets, for example, your real assets or your real property, okay, real and immovable properties, okay, ay kuhanan mo ng insurance sa building, insurance sa kotse, yan, kasi we all know there will be certain for example, earthquakes, yung building mo, so pinaghirapan mo, tapos hindi na-insure, di sayang. So, yan. Changes in provisions. So, kapag nagbabago, kasi along the way naman, na kapag may initial recognition ka na ng provision, tapos biglang nagbago yung takbo ng lesser, for example, kaso. Okay? Pag ganon, there are changes in the provisions, accounting for it is prospective. Ibig sabihin, you need not make bago from the initial recognition. Prospective na lang. By accruing an additional amount or by reversing a previously recognized amount. So, dagdag bawas na lang. Okay? So, yon. So, yun lang. So, that's actually settles, maikli lang talaga siya. Okay? So, If you have questions, okay, you may ask me. And then, see you sa guided exercises. Medyo madami yung guided exercise. Parang 15 ata yung nilagay ko dun. Okay? So, yan. Kasi kita ko in the previews, yung module 1 natin, medyo madami kayong tanong sa akin. So, dinamihan ko na yung guided exercises para at least cover ko lahat. Okay? So, yun lang. Bye-bye.